Hello lovelies, friendly neighborhood naturopathic Dr. Jenna here. I wanted to make this video to give you an overview of what epigenetics is in a kind of snapshot. And this video will be for people who are interested in learning about epigenetics and also for my patients who will be coming to see me and have their epigenetics run. So what I want to do is I want to give you a couple little diagrams and show you what epigenetics is. So basically, I'm going to go over some of the fundamentals, and this will help you better understand when you come to see me what it is that we'll be talking about, okay? So first things first, epigenetics. Let's talk about that. So genetics are the genetics that you have that you cannot change. So your eye color, your hair color, this sort of thing. And I like to think of that as the foundation of a house. And then on top of that, you can have your epigenetics. Epi actually is the term for above. It means above. And so those are the genetics that you can change and affect. So you can change the color of the house, the siding, and all of that stuff. So that's kind of what the epigenetics are. You can affect them with diet, lifestyle. They can become influenced by stress, by deficit states. Deficit states being puberty, pregnancy, really stressful, traumatic times, things like that. So they can change your epigenetics. Okay, so that's a little bit of a basis. So what we do together is we look at your epigenetic variances, or you can use the word interchangeably, epigenetic mutations, and or we can use the word SNP, SNP, which stands for single nucleotide polymorphism. So polymorphism is a fancy word for you got a single change in one of your little nucleotides, DNA. So essentially, think about it like this. You have a computer system, and your computer system is made up of zeros and ones, and that's the code that determines what shows up on the screen. So with your DNA, you have A, C, T's, and G's. And so that will determine what shows up in your body, right? And how you present with your health. So if you have, say, an A where there's supposed to be a T, then you might have a little glitch in your system. And maybe you have a few of those. So those are called single nucleotide polymorphism. Those are SNPs, okay? So we're going to hear that language when we work together. The other thing that is important to understand is that your body is a giant Plinko board, okay? So if you've watched The Price is Right before, you know that the giant Plinko board is like this, and you put a chip in the top, and everything kind of filters down to an inevitable end at the bottom. And so in Plinko it's random, but in your body it's not random. So each one of those pathways leads to an inevitable end. And so in your body, you have pathways for everything. You have pathways for vitamin A, for vitamin D, antioxidants, hormones, feel-good brain chemicals, all that fun stuff. So if you had food, drink, whatever come in, your body's supposed to make things in those pathways that's beneficial to you. But imagine you had a little bumper in the way. So now when that chip comes in, it can't go down. You can't make what you were supposed to make. And instead, maybe something else, it follows a different pathway, and maybe something else gets made instead that we don't want. So this is the understanding of that little SNP, that single nucleotide polymorphism, will change the outcome for that particular pathway. And so we look at the SNPs that will affect each pathway. So this is kind of what we're going to do when we work together. We're going to go through each of the pathways. It starts with vitamin A, so I'll give you an example there. So we look and we see in your epigenetics, does it say for you that you have a SNP in the vitamin A pathway? Okay, you do? Awesome. So what does that mean? It means that you have a little change in your vitamin A pathway, which makes it so that your beta carotene may not be converting to active vitamin A. Okay, so what does that mean for you? That could mean that you have any number of things that are taken care of by vitamin A. So what does vitamin A take care of? It takes care of skin health, skin cell turnover. So if you had acne, if you had rosacea, if you had eczema, psoriasis, dandruff, dry skin, cracked lips, cracked fingers, cracked heels, eyesight issues, dry eyes, night vision, blindness, those all pertain to vitamin A. So if you have a SNP in the vitamin A pathway, which means a little bumper, you're not able to convert into active vitamin A, then you have all these signs and symptoms. You've got acne, you've got dry skin, you've got dry eyes, you've got dandruff, whatever it is. Then we would assume, okay, that pathway has been triggered for you, the light switch in that pathway has been turned on, your SNP in that pathway has been turned on, and it needs some help, it needs some support. So then what we would do is we would provide supplementation for this particular pathway. Some other pathways, it's dietary changes, lifestyle changes, that kind of thing. But for this particular vitamin A pathway, we would provide the active form of vitamin A that your body doesn't necessarily make, and that should help take care of the skin being dry, the acne, all of those issues, the dry eyes and problems like that. So does that kind of make a little bit of sense as to how we go through this information and how it works? And then of course all the pathways do different things. Some pathways are for inflammation, so maybe a pathway downregulation, that's another word, downregulation. So if you have vitamin A, it's not converting from beta carotene to vitamin A, that means that you're not making as much vitamin A, so that's a down regulation, like a little volume turned down on the amount of vitamin A that you have. So the word down regulation we use quite a bit too. And so maybe you have a down regulation in your antioxidant pathway, and that could lead to a lot of things floating around in your system that aren't supposed to be there, because antioxidants bind to free radicals, right? I like to think of an office with a bunch of people who aren't supposed to be in it, and they're kind of like pressing on the photocopier and like opening up your laptop and like pressing buttons and turning lights on. They're not supposed to be there. They're supposed to have escorts to escort them out of the body. Those are your antioxidants. That's what they do. So if you have a downregulation in that pathway, then you could have more like arthritis, inflammation, headaches, brain fog, you name it. So that gives you an idea of how it is we're going to work together, how we're going to go through things, gives you an idea of what epigenetics is. And from there, I'll see you in my office and we'll go through yours and figure out what it is that your body specifically needs. So I'll see you soon. Bye for now.